Welcome back to New Mexico Now. My name is Dan, and kids are often so full of energy, but these last few pandemic years have taken a toll on some of our youth. So how can you recognize if a child is burnt out or suffering something more serious like a mental health issue? Well, most think a student's access to mental health services in schools is critical. There's a disconnect because parents say only a fraction of schools provide any services at all. With nearly 2 decades of counseling experience, joining us to offer guidance and insight is Morgan Champion, School Counseling Services Lead from Pearson. Good morning, Morgan. How are you?
I'm good.
Where are we as a country today in this mental health crisis? The survey interviewed more than 3,000 parents on kids' well-being. What are some of the key findings?
Sure. So it's very important that we remember that we were dealing with a mental health crisis prior to the pandemic, and the pandemic really exacerbated the challenges that our young people were already facing. One of the things that our Pearson Global Learner Survey told us is that parents really want schools to prioritize the mental health of our young people, and that's driving the decisions they're making about where they're enrolling their children. Nearly 2/3 of parents told us that they want their child exposed to mental health resources and awareness as early as elementary school. And 90% of parents are prioritizing where they enroll their children based on those mental health services that they're providing. So as a professional school counselor for Pearson and Connections Academy, this really tells me we're heading in the right direction.
And what are some of the warning signs? So how can parents tell if kids are dealing with something like burnout or a more serious mental health issue? And then what can parents and schools do to help them?
Absolutely. Well, being in tune with your child's moods, affect, and behavior is incredibly important when you're gauging if your child is dealing with something, like burnout or something more serious, like a mental health challenge. And so one thing you want to pay attention to are children's eating and sleeping habits, any changes in friend relationships, and if they're giving you any concerning comments such as feeling like they're a burden or potentially giving away possessions, you definitely want to seek mental health support as soon as possible. And your child's school counselor is a great first step in having this conversation. They can offer you some resources in your local community that can help.
What about homework and stress? How much is too much?
Sure. Homework has been a divisive topic among parents for quite some time, and our survey told us that 75% of parents want to see less homework for their children because they think it's directly impacting their mental health and well-being. Some other things that parents want to see schools do is provide more extracurricular activities related to wellness, more physical fitness opportunities for children, as well as free mental health services for both students and staff.
With summer vacation around the corner, any advice on how we could use this time to approach our children with the topic of mental health?
Absolutely. So summertime is a great opportunity for families to start implementing some healthy practices. And so one thing that I do with my own child is practice daily affirmations. So saying things like, I can do this, I can handle this, I can face my fears. Those are great things to meditate on as a family, but it can also directly impact your child's self-talk.
And everybody wants to raise some resilient kids, and it's hard to know the line when to tell kids to shake it off versus being a chronic problem. What is your advice, and how can parents help their children?
I always encourage parents to put themselves in their child's shoes. Even as adults, we face challenges where having a trusted advisor or someone who's validating our feelings can really help how we respond to a challenge. And children are naturally resilient, but making sure that we're in tune with our child to know if it's something more serious. You can visit websites like Mental Health America, where you can take free screening tools on behalf of your child to kind of gauge whether this is something more serious, and then be sure you're having regular conversations with your child. And if your child won't talk to you, make sure that you get them a trusted adult, such as a counselor or a family member that they can talk to.
So how does technology play a role, both good and bad?
Well, not all screen time is created equal. So if your child is watching something educational, like an animal documentary, it's definitely not the same as scrolling through social media endlessly. So making sure that you set up some healthy boundaries with your family related to social media, making sure that you know who your child is interacting with, and just really making sure you know about your child's relationship with technology is incredibly important.
So where can my viewers go for more information?
Sure. If you'd like more information on our Pearson Global Learner Survey, you can visit pearsonplc.com. And if you'd like some tips and resources for your family, you can visit connectionsacademy.com/emotional fitness.
Thanks for being with me, Morgan.
Thank you for having me.
And we'll be back with more all after this.